Calling our meeting to order at 7. Calling our meeting to order at 7 p.m. Representatives Fitchie, Gardner, Norman, Lasky, Umbris, and Powers are present. Senator Shinra will be momentarily, I believe, will be here. New business tonight is the review of our proposed 2025 proposed budget. See, debt service is our first category tonight. Director Morrison is here. Get ready to turn to page 204, account number 1076.
D. Morrison, Director of Finance. Function 1076 is for our debt service. This is for the general obligation on payments. That there is a decrease this year in the overall for the request, and that's just based on payments for the payment schedule for.
Anyone have any questions? Pretty self-explanatory.
Well,
Yep, sure.
one dumb question. What's our current bond rating?
Our current bond rating,
Yeah, I'm just wondering what terms we generally have to go for our rating. A, whatever.
well, for S&P, we did get a AA rating recently just for our van sale. We haven't had an official bond sale in a couple of years, so we haven't had multiple ratings from the other agencies.
I wanted to know because its interest rates have gone up, so suddenly this is a matter of interest.
Yep, so we've maintained what our bond rating has been.
I think that also has to do with the way. Yes, Representative Gardner.
Is this something that's unmodifiable? And if it is modifiable, does the town council make any modification
To these,
to this?
we cannot change the scheduled payments that are in place.
Senator Fritchie, questions? I'm talking to the microphone.
So, one reason is, my mind is locked in. Stay on the just for the paper.
For the bond sales that we've done in the past that were over a 20-year span, those don't. The schedule of what the interest rates were for each of them are locked in. Those do not change.
Well, they stay the way. Is there any? We're just.
Not for the long-term bonds that we have.
Yeah.
The only thing that is a little bit different in these is we have the short-term note that we have to keep rolling each year. So that, depending on whatever market yield is for the interest rates, could vary. But it's a 1-year note that gets paid off, and then we roll to another note. The hope is that the school projects will be audited by the state. I'd like to say in the near future, but really honestly, I don't probably based on what we've been told.
When you say they can audit us,
Mhm.
you mean they go through this like every 5 years?
The school can,
We're due for one, but
no, just for the school construction projects. So for the middle school and the 2 elementary schools that were part of the large $180 million construction project, the state has to go through and make sure that they're verifying that the costs that have been submitted for reimbursement are eligible costs, and that process.
326 is.
For the actual interest rate that we were
That
paying,
we're paying and.
they were in the
So it's gonna.
between the 3 and the 4 for each.
Yeah, so we're
Mhm.
gonna,
Between the, town side and the board of ed.
How many, we have 5 million?
That'd be nice.
Oh, was that 50 million?
Actually closer to, well, I guess it depends on if you want to take the principal and the interest, it's about 100. Principal and interest.
We're doing good. That's all. We got it. The rate is at the right
Yeah, we borrowed
interest
the
rate. That's right. Let the record note that Representative each had brought here. Four.
No.
Representative members. Any questions now?
No, no questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna ask for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes. Second. Here. Okay, on to the next item on our agenda is the contingency. That's account number 1094, page 210. And course, brief overview of contingency. We all know what it is, but members. Brief look at.
This, contingency is basically money we're setting aside just in case any of our accounts functions have need to have transferred during the year. We have to have quarter transfers towards the end of the fiscal year for items that might be going to the budget. So this is the line where we would move money out of and move it into the other.
Thank you. I noticed that the town council was reduced by 50,000. I'm sure we'll have more discussion. You have a question?
Yeah, that was my biggest question. I'm looking at the, decreasing contingency. Right. But I don't think, I mean, climate problems, various other kinds of bad things can happen. And they've got nothing but more expensive to deal with rather than less. So I do wonder whether taking money out of, is this smartest?
I think that'll be a wide open discussion.
I think so. I think so. With many points of view.
Based on what I'm looking at, here, the amount that was actually. Last few years, so.
Good discussion points. Okay. So Norman, any questions?
I don't have any questions, and the other thing you need to know is when it was really high before, a lot of it was used for things like wage increases, which should be more predictable than it would seem. That shouldn't even be a contingency fund to know what the wage increases are. And so I've been happier in the last few years that it seems to be more things that make this than.
Well, that is the great, the
That is
trouble
the good-
is, yeah, we have a bridge that we didn't expect to wash out.
Yeah.
It could get very catastrophic very fast.
Right.
And we need something at least to bridge us, so we can get some kind of grant money out of either insurance or the government or something. I mean, having looked at all of this flooding from my yard, it's quite a lot on my.
Representative Frisch, any questions? Contingency?
Only, noticed that back in 2024, this book doesn't have the history before that, so I can't really see, but this is just consistent with what we had. 259 and 24, and 300 is what they originally proposed, and they dropped it down to 250. And I see that wasn't in the manual. So the one question I want to ask is, this is what the council has approved, right?
Correct, our adjusted list.
So they dropped the number down
50,000, correct.
by 50. Okay, so that's already a movement, and it doesn't seem hard to come up with.
I think 210, this site first was 2016. what's been used.
What,
Can I ask Representative Gardner here for a minute, please? Do you have any questions?
No, I think in the tough budget year this year, the 50,000 was probably appropriate. I had a really good thought that I was gonna say, and I really forgot.
That's okay.
I love being there with it.
well, wait a minute. it
See, our
went
rest
back
is
to you.
here. That's okay.
Okay,
I'm back.
We're not doing this. Representative
Oh,
Umbris,
no, you're.
Representative Umbris, any questions for contingency, sir?
No questions. Thank you.
Yes.
What, interest rate does the fund get while it's sitting there?
It's not really a
It's not
separate
interest
bank
bearing.
account. It's
Okay, so
not-
we don't earn
it's-
any
It's
interest
just
on
a designation in our GL.
We don't have funds designated that are sitting. It's all taxes when they come into when they're spent sit in some sort of.
Well, multiple, we have multiple bank accounts, depending on providing the
Or
best
that is-
interest rate. Mhm. Typically so.
Seeing no other questions, second round of questions here?
I didn't remember my thought.
Okay, great, let's hear it.
What was the thought?
The thought was, well, what I had to ask myself the question, is it worth, raising the mill rate some more and having our town residents pay more taxes for that extra 50,000?
Want a finance committee meeting here.
And I don't
Sorry,
think it
guys.
is. So I agree with the town council on this.
I mean, I only have one thing. to say. I do know the contingency has something to do with how we're rated for the bond. Look at all. So. I believe in the finance department, I believe in our directors, town manager, they have a good gauge. Doing this for a while and I've seen it reduced. Percent Lasky's concerns are, I trust that we're able to move money.
It should be noted the town manager actually. So
I think
he's
that's,
comfortable with that.
and I think we'll have plenty of due process at our hearings. At the moment, I'm gonna call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
What number do we?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna move to 250,000.
I
Reluctantly,
Aye, okay. Representative Umbris,
I believe in rainy day funds.
Aye.
thank you. 7 to 0 and 0. Okay, 250 is a good number. But I think we're right there where we need to be. Okay, our next order of business is page 93, category 1013, finance administration. Again, Director Morrison, brief overview.
Sure, this is, for finance administration. Basically, it's the expenses that, are needed for, running all of the different, like, leadership. Assessment, tax collection. The increase this year was 4.1%. Majority of that is related to personal, this based on increases. Of the 19% that were in finance, 15 of them are. So really, there was no way of getting what the increase for the salaries would be.
The operating expenses, papers and computers and all.
Correct. There's majority of the increase, honestly.
Yeah.
$20,000. A piece of that has to do with Under 5290, professional courses.
See it.
The contractual amount for the audit, for the fiscal 24 audit, that would be a little bit of an increase for that. Under repairs and maintenance, under 5260, we had higher costs related to, we have blood pressure scale machines, and we actually have money counting machine in the tax office that the bank provided, but we have to pay the maintenance. So,
Just everyday expense.
Yeah.
Just like the rest of it.
so nothing really kind of crazy and out of the ordinary, but that's it.
Yes, do we have any questions? Senator Fritz.
Just so I understand how this works. Let me just. Does the town finance department predicted number of, we had 10% inflation for 3 years in COVID. Basically, these numbers, 3 and 4% is sort of typical. So I used as a guide, what, the year before last, we had like an 8 or 9% increase in Social Security. Addition. This is based on 2024. And we're talking about what I'm saying is what measure use or say what is a standard that we're trying to achieve. Do you do it in your analysis? Like another analysis, try to say, what are we shooting? What is our real need? Yes, we have economy. Yes, we have expenses going. Yes, we have all these things that aren't being accounted for by Social Security, like food and gas, for example. And I don't know if you set a standard. So if you did, would you tell us that yes, 3%, yes, 4% was the range that you expected to be a norm for this year?
No, I didn't have an expectation of a percentage increase. Really, my starting point is to see where our personnel is going to be based on those. So for most of our contracts, they're multi-year, and the increases that will be paid on those contracts are embedded in the contract. So we can kind of predict what to expect this coming up. For those increases. So really, and then once all my vision leaders give me what their needs are, finance has to be important that we use our folders and I'm speaking, we're not, so for our budget, I really don't feel that there's anything in there that's excessive but I didn't have a percentage increase that I was really trying to achieve overall.
I was thinking just one part. In general.
Oh, for the whole town.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm trying to, I've been through budgeting cycles for a long time. And the tendency is to sort of guess a little avoid risk, in my experience. But there is a difficult situation. So you have multiple strings. Let Sean do it. I mean, seriously, sort of wondering if the procedure is. That's gotta be it.
But
Is it reasonable and fair?
town manager does, once he receives all of the information from all of the various departments, and he can see really where the increase is beginning of the process. And he works with each of the departments. Determine where he's trying to get, where he feels comfortable amount. And he's done a great job of really going. Especially.
Okay, well, I think we all agree, we like. Her.
I mean, here's what I will say. I think that given the reduction in COVID funds, with the combination, there's probably no one at this town that is getting a true what would happen if they were in the private sector cost of living update to the standards that we should expect, right? Like their dollar is gonna buy less, their salary is gonna buy less than it did the year before. And so every cut that folks have made to try to make this as big a I think it's a really hard year. So I appreciate
If I could be allowed to mention something.
Can we go around the table once before you go back?
No.
Sorry, you're gonna have to. Representative
Go
Sherman?
ahead. Anybody else?
I was just trying to, I'm ready to know myself, just for general purposes, just for general purposes. Salaried employees and electric vote at maximum. So I think we're within the guidelines of what the area is getting.
I lived through the 70s. Is there anybody else who lived through the 70s? You do now, but you're
Graduated in 75. Process.
It was horrible. It was 10 years of inflation. But at least there was unions that, had built-in cost of living allowance. But it destroyed wealth. Understand? I want to talk about purchase. The huge increases in costs destroyed the wealth that you have built over years and years and years, and suddenly you're left out there with nothing. In the 70s, and it took 20 years for it to recover. And there were wages sort of sour ever since then. So I look at this and say, oh, we have to play back and kind of that's going up, consistent with what's happening in the world. Not necessarily basing back. Money. All I want. So we have.
Thank you for your comments. Representative Gardner?
No questions, just, I mean, I've never seen, I've been in the private sector for over 21 years. I've never seen a 4% increase. That's usually, those kind of increases are usually reserved for people at the top, to be honest. And also, with the cost of living going up, taxes going up. So, if the town council doesn't go through and the RTM doesn't go through and make some cuts to this budget, it's just going to exacerbate. Other than that, no questions.
Just to clarify, do you think that the salary went up 4% or the overall budget went up?
I don't know what percentage the salaries went up, but that's a union contract anyway.
Yeah, it was 0.7.
That's about right.
So
Yeah.
salaries going. It was the overall budget.
Hey. Last.
I don't really have any questions, but I did live through the 70s and actually we made money. Because we had a large loan on our house and the value of the house went way up. And all of a sudden, there was money there we never had before. So it all depends on where you started, whether you won or lost.
And I think we're doing a good job of what's.
And I'm glad to see that.
Representative Umbris, do you have any questions for Director Morris?
I do not at this time.
Thank you. No more questions, I'd like to call for a vote. Number here is 1,789,784. All those in favor? Aye.
I,
Opposed? Okay. So we're gonna go to the reevaluation fund, it's 2010, it's found on page 97. See, there's an overall decrease, but Dr. Morrison explain the decrease. Thank you.
So just as a recap, the revaluation. Fund that's used to accumulate funds over a period of years. So that when statutorily required revaluation 5 years, or funding in this that allows to cover those expenses. Main reason for the decrease is right now. The reval that occurred as of the October 1 last year, those expenses were really captured in this rate. So we're now just in that build stage of getting the
Building back.
fund balance back up. And another reason for part of the decrease is the legal fees were deemed less going forward, or estimated to be going down. Larger appeals that we had that have settled.
That's,
So it's not anticipated for those results in larger legal fees.
thank you. Any questions for Director Morrison on this? Representative Norman?
I see that in part to build for this fund, it pays for GIS and mapping, which I know GIS appears throughout the budget. Can you talk about what this GIS mapping is? Is it the aerial drones? Is it the software? Is it human? What is it? And why is it different than where it is in the budget? In the IT.
So this is for the required aerial mapping. That is, I don't know if they've done drones exclusively in the past for that process. This is more from some of the visual direct measuring. I guess that's what probably would be able to make it better, but the building points and getting all of the mapping down, but this involves more of the individuals doing that process.
Your stuff, Lyman stuff. I know that there's multiple. Not sure if that's what this is for, but I know that there's, you say boots on the ground, there's a lot more. Right by, here's your estimate.
Correct, and it's not done strictly just by roles or at the present time.
Right, especially with the bigger properties, I'm sure the commercial properties, even more expensive.
Not to say that that's not an option in the future that could maybe result in saving, but
Drop the pin somewhere, right, and go from there.
And so this is required.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. We'd like to move $156,275. All those in favor? Aye.
I,
Aye. Representative Umbris?
Aye.
$2060 Mumford Close, actually found on page 189. I think we all read it. Do you have any questions? Answer that.
Not many people.
Okay. A good number, let's put it that. Do you have any questions? See,
I'm presuming they picked the no-end fire district because they were cheaper than the other adjoining fire districts.
I honestly don't know that.
I think they're the
It was
closest
provided
fire.
in proximity. I think it was
Well,
response
kind
time.
of, because. Are we, what fire district are we sitting in?
yes, I believe.
So I would say they're probably not that much different from.
I would say
Like,
it's good.
depending on where the firehouse is.
There's the firehouse that used to be down by filtration plants. Closest, the water spring is. Oh, at Fort Hill, Hamburg.
Yep, that's good. Thank you. All the clarity I love.
So what's closer? I just like to know this. I just.
No, no.
The years.
I think I would know some of the stuff. It's very good. Thank you for your assistance. Senator Shinbrad. Seeing no questions, I'd like to move, $21,362. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, we forgot to second it.
No,
I second it.
Any questions? Representative Umbros,
No questions.
we voted 21,000.
Aye.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. On to the next one. Last but not least for Dr. Morrison. Going to 410, it's on 192, it's the Groton Sewer District. Right, what we're gonna go through it again.
I'm good with this generally. Do you anticipate with the, was it PFAS and the updated potential policy legislation that this is the number we should see go up in the clean water fund? Did you know what I'm talking about? They want us to pull out the
I'm not sure if it would be.
this,
Fund.
different, or
It might
want to get in.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if it would be here or.
Do you have any questions on this one? Being none.
Well,
Well,
is it the town's, this is just the town of Groton exclusive of the city of Groton sewer.
the debt service,
Yeah, I know,
It's
it's,
principal
we
interest.
have a separate debt service.
I don't know that. I don't have an answer because we don't have
That's
the
why I
city
asked
budget.
What's that?
Does this debt service include the city's sewer fund or is there separate?
That they,
Well,
Debt
they
payments
run,
on- they pay
run
their own debt
utilities.
payments on their own.
So I
bonds.
presume they have their own. This is just what I was asking.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just for the town exclusive. of this.
Okay. You have any other questions? Seeing none, I'd like to put $1,283,322. Second.
Second.
That's
No.
none.
What is it?
That's the amount raised by taxes.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's the number that we're moving, isn't it? It's Groton Sewer District tax. $1,283,000.
Oh, what's that?
322, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I did make it. 1,283,300. We have a second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Say aye.
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 Okay, 700. Moving right along here. Thank Director Morris, come to see us, Morrison. Appreciate your time. I don't see anyone from IT. Are you handling the IT stuff?
He's online. No, he's online,
Oh,
so I
oh,
think
Jay is.
I mean,
It's a new name.
voter reg will be.
Yes. Thank you very much. Are you staying with us? Help me shut everything off?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll turn my mic.
Come on up and visit.
got your message, I will respond.
Thank you, no worries.
We're on to voter registration here, found on page 56.
You don't have your.
No, she has a young daughter. Lives in Phoenix. So I took her this year.
Whatever else it was, that's okay.
As you know, we was in ask.
Okay, so, this year, the budget has gone up. Partially because of the presidential election and the state legislative primary. But also in addition to that, we have that new law for early voting. And so all of that money needs to be budgeted. We did get a grant to help us out to get started with the presidential primary. Wasn't enough to cover all of the items that we needed to get to perform it as workers, but they're budgeted for the August primary and November primary. As of right now, we're not 100% sure that we're going to do an August primary, but I was told to budget for it anyway because, you know, there's still plenty of time for people to pick up and get about. So, for right now, we're budgeting for that. We only have one worker in our office. She is part-time. He's scheduled for 20 hours. She tends to work more than that. But because it is at this point random when it happens, we're keeping her at 20. We budgeted her a few extra hours and then overtime. Because during the actual election time, she does work enough hours to get over.
Do you have any questions?
How did you think the early one?
It was hectic for me and Jeannie, because no matter how many people came in, we still had to do all the same amount of work. But other than that, it was really slow. We had 130 total voters come in for early voting, which was about 4%. Well, actually, no, overall, including the election day, we had 4%. Now, we have to keep in mind that that was a really contested race at that point. So a lot of people chose not to come in. A lot of people that did come in, you know, because we asked them, you know, do you like this early voting and everything? A lot of people that came in were like, oh, I just wanted to try it out. See what it's like.
Yeah.
So, but it went very well. Went very smooth with the new process after the first morning, you know, getting everything in order and making sure we knew what we were supposed to do. After that, it went really smooth.
Are you planning one or two early voting sites for president?
We're actually meeting with the council tomorrow to determine that.
Okay, won't that'll affect this amount?
It will make this amount change. I did not budget for two early voting locations. But you know, at this point, it's kind of hard to tell whether we actually will need one.
Yeah.
We are, you know, like I've told the council, we are on the bus route, so anybody can get to us, to our current important.
Yeah.
You know, we've advertised as much as we can. The state had zero budget to advertise, so we put
things in the Mystic Times today, which not a lot of people read actual newspapers anymore. So I don't know how they go about seeing that online, but there are articles that one of the reporters puts in for us, so it's an actual article. Get that out there. We had some signs made, we put out in the front lawn, and people were like, "Thank you for doing that. We knew to come in here."
Did you post on Nextdoor or Groton Patch? Because those are free. And
Yes,
you can pay to boost as well.
we did not do Nextdoor. We'll look into that one. I didn't know about that. But we did. I don't have one yet. Are you interested?
You should be our intern.
I don't have TikTok, I don't let it.
I don't either, but I can ask my dog.
Nextdoor.
Nextdoor, right? I do have Nextdoor.
Did you do the good old fun community forum? On Facebook?
Oh, yes.
And it's-
Yes,
Oh.
and I put it on my own too, and everybody that I know shared it around. Hopefully. A little
Or
bit
you
at
can
least.
get about 6 days, about $30 on both Instagram, and Facebook to elevate a post. It's probably worth it.
Mr. Servant does a great job.
Yeah.
She
We
really
appreciate
does.
you.
We do appreciate you a lot. It's a very important thing that we're able to vote and that we're able to gather people forward to move everything the way that you do with the staff you have. You do a fantastic job for us. All of us are appreciative of what you do.
Absolutely.
I ask everyone, does anyone else have any questions? Let's move, $116,047.
Okay,
We're doing it in silent. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Representative Alvarez,
Aye.
thank you. 7-0 and Kristen, thank you so much. And really, yeah. If you need anything,
Thanks
feel
for
free to
bringing it
just
all.
drop into our
It's
meeting.
always hard to change.
Yes,
You guys got through it.
we did.
You did great. Our next item is with Director Main. I see that he's online today with us. Nice to meet you, Director. First time here with us.
Thank you. Good evening.
We're going to count 10-11 on page 70 with information technology. We've read the overall view of this. Director Main, could you just give us a brief overview of the overall increases, where they're going besides the personal service? We see the operating expenses, but more so, what are we doing with the operating expenses? Please.
I think that for the most part, the services that the town has they've remained the same, but a lot of the costs incurred for licensing and software support have risen considerably. And this is something that we've checked with other towns in the area that they've experienced the same types of increases. We did add a little bit of money to the budget for personal development to make sure that our staff members are able to keep up with the common trends and security trainings.
Great. I appreciate your help here and hope you're enjoying working with the town. Yeah. Do you have any questions for Director Main? Representative Dean Schindler, please.
question. And that's, do you share any services at all with the school?
No, we do not.
Representative, yes.
Okay, couple of things, so you added 2 new systems, the EnerGov and Azure. Can you talk to me about why they need to get added, and did other systems get dropped? What made you need those 2 services? I feel like you already had online backup.
I believe, so the Azure is that's the online portion of our backup. To my knowledge, that's what we've been using for the online portion. I think the internal is a different service. And as far as Energov, that's part of the town's ERP system. That's it's for permitting.
Got it. It says that they're new this year. Did it replace the new software or what?
I believe that we've been using Energov. I don't know why it would be listed as new.
Energo did go live recently. It's part of the online permitting system for planning development. Which allows them to actually take credit card payments via the online.
Got it. And then, I guess, and then I know we have Azure and online file backups. We're gonna get into CIPs too, and I'm trying to figure it out. You have this GIS investment piece. Can you talk through under your software maintenance? What percentage of that is GIS versus other software? What's the breakdown?
As far as the increase for the software maintenance,
Overall budget?
I don't know the specific increase for that GIS represents. I do know that there was a marginal increase for GIS, but nothing over the top.
Do you know what the total? If you don't know that, it's okay if you don't know the increase. What's the
I don't, not off the top of my head.
Can you make sure to bring that?
Or,
Yes.
meeting, director may.
Have an understanding of this. There's many towns that will choose to use like QGIS, which is a free open source software, other things like that to reduce costs of software costs. And I'm trying to understand how much is.
Yeah, I apologize. I am new here. I don't really know all of the ins and outs of GIS.
I am the toughest one you'll face on. And so just and yeah. So okay. Those were all my questions.
Representative Lasky.
I see here that it says you still have proper landlines from Frontier. Do you have plans to get rid of those?
No, unfortunately, the copper lines are a requirement in certain departments, emergency services, and I believe the emergency operations center. We do have to have copper lines.
Frontier has been really bad about maintaining their copper lines in our areas. I know a number of elderly people that still have them. And the maintenance has been very poor. Have you done anything to get Frontier to at least check out that these lines are as reliable as they used to be for you?
Nothing has been done to this point. We haven't experienced any issues, but that is something that we can look into.
Thank you.
No question.
Representative Umbers.
No questions.
I'd like to move 1,331,000.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving right along here. We're on to information technology. Account 1011 on page 70. Well, it'll be late. All right, we're on to, sorry about that. We're on to 6050 technology replacement on page 74. Overall increase of $793. Do we have any questions? Nothing. Director Main, do we have any idea this is for the upgrade of computer screens, is that what I'm reading here?
This fund is for the upgrade of the actual computer workstations, screens and peripherals, also printers throughout the town. Everything, all the workstations are on a 5-year upgrade cycle. I believe printers are slightly longer than that, and monitors are replaced when they need to be.
Nothing's necessarily broken. Schedule.
The replacement schedule, correct?
Yeah.
Yes,
Thinking consider.
Well, the one is $88,740.
It might not been, I don't know, and we are putting out tens of millions of dollars in salaries to cut,
Not a
to
lot.
cut productivity.
It's
It's hard, because if it removes productivity by even,
I think to be in the Yankee I am, it's like, oh, this sounds good. We can cut that.
Yeah, no, I'm with it,
A lot
yeah.
more.
I mean,
Yeah.
You can make a motion.
wait,
No,
wait,
no.
wait for this, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do we have any questions? Representative Pritchett? Representative Gardner?
No question.
Lasky? Representative Umbris?
No question.
Okay, I'd like to move $88,740. Do I have a second? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay,
Can I confirm what number?
it was 6050, technology replacement.
What was the number?
$88,740.
That's the financing.
Right.
The actual expenditures were 82,550.
Oh,
Do that one again.
okay. That was the actual expense. Right on that. Okay, folks. We have to do the vote over again. Have to renege on that number. Okay, not the right number. Let's take a vote on this number here. $82,515. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, no opposed, no abstentions. Representative Umbris, you heard what I did, right? I made a mistake here.
Correct. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Tired now.
Need snacks.
Okay, on to information technology, CIP 7. Page 244, the A, B, and D. Who's starting, folks? That is Owens? Okay. Director May, could you please go over, 244 through 246 and give us a brief overview of what you feel we need to do here as far as cost of capital improvements are concerned?
oh, yes, the money requested here for infrastructure is to maintain and improve the town's infrastructure. That includes, servers, storage, networking equipment, licensing, things of that nature, keep everything up and running. We also have, like 7B is for enterprise resource planning, and that is to continue our work moving the town's infrastructure, resource planning over from various different solutions to Tyler software.
Security piece, I'm like,
Yep, my apologies. And the security piece. That is to strengthen our network infrastructure to ensure that we have detection and response measures in place to not only detect an intrusion into the network, but to respond to it and block the connection. And also to replace some of the town's aging firewalls to ensure that they're the newer brands that are able to support the higher level of security and encryption.
Do you have any questions on any of the representatives here at the table? Representative Bumpers?
It's this,
Director Main, I'm so sorry, I understand that you are new. So last year when y'all came to us and asked for money for server hardware, particularly when you have cloud backups, I said at that point in time, I understood it was late in the game, and so yes, another year, but I would be hoping that you come back this year with an understanding of how to operate all of your systems offline. I don't think it's necessary to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a year on servers and hardware. Many cities in the country have upgraded to this and find both cost savings and obviously no hardware expenses on that. Have you been able to research in this last year what it would look like to move to the cloud and to not have to spend this $135,000 on hardware?
I do think that I have taken a look at that to kind of compare what that would look like. Because we have invested in a lot of this perpetual licensing that we own, and we do have the infrastructure to support it. Obviously, this infrastructure needs to be upgraded from time to time, which is what this fund is for. But it is more cost effective to have our most of our services rely on premise at this time.
Can you say more about why you believe that it's more cost?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Can you say more about why you believe that? Thanks, give me a little more information.
My apologies. I didn't quite catch that. I think I have a bad connection.
You said that you believe it's more cost effective, and just for context, I ran the city of New York's technology for this and cloud computing, and so I know how much cheaper it can be, and so I'd love a little more information on why you think it's cheap. It's cheaper to have on-prem their hardware and servers.
I would say the biggest reason is because of this perpetual licensing. When we move to a cloud environment, you're paying a monthly fee to use the software that you're using. Whereas with perpetual licensing, you're paying a bigger amount upfront without that reoccurring monthly cost. So because we've already made the investment in the perpetual licensing, moving to a subscription cloud-based model means that we'd also be paying a monthly fee to use the software that we already own. And I think that's the biggest reason why it would be quite a bit more expensive.
Money, you don't want to spend more money, and for us to have to pay over 10K a month in hardware upgrades on average, how does that relate to what the cost for a cloud? Sorry, I want to push on this a little bit.
I think it's tough to quantify the exact cost difference because of the town having so many different services. We have over 40 virtual servers running different services for the town. So to try to quantify what each one of those would, what the increase would be exactly, is tough to say. What I can say is that if we were going to move towards a cloud-based environment, we'd want to do that at a time when that perpetual license is coming up for replacement. So that we could capitalize on those savings.
And when are they up?
It's staggered. So it really depends on the service.
Okay, so when are each one up? Is it for each of the 40 servers a different date, or what does it look like?
For each specific solution that we're licensed for, the renewals for those are staggered throughout the year, and in some cases we have multi-year agreements.
Or say again, you said they're staggered throughout the year. So you switch, or they're annual? No, they're perpetual. Say that again? You said you wanted to capitalize on the most savings possible, so you want to do it when perpetual licenses are up.
So
Is
if
the
we were going to move to a cloud-based environment, we would want to, as these software renewals come up, we would want to move them over to monthly subscriptions. But they are staggered. They're not, they don't expire all at the same time. So it's not, there's not a line in the sand for doing that.
Started to move towards that as they've come up.
I'm sorry?
Have you started to move towards a cloud-based system as they've come up? Because what I'm worried about is you're telling me you can't because they're staggered or they're perpetual license, all these things, but I don't actually see movement towards saving money for the town. And so that's what I'm stressed about, is you can tell me you can't do it right now, but I'm neither getting the information for the cost comparison to like feel really good about putting this money back into hardware when I don't think it's the right choice, or having an understanding of when that license is up to actually and feel like you're moving towards it if it is the right choice for the savings for the town long term. So, right, like, is it up in 6 months? Is it up in 6 years? Are we moving a quarter up in 6 months? Are we moving that quarter to the cloud? Because if we're always waiting for the next one and they will always be staggered, we will never get.
No, I think it comes down to a case by case basis. And I can give you the example of currently the town has perpetual licensing for Microsoft Office 2019. Next year, we will need to make the decision whether or not to buy perpetual licensing for Office once again, or we can move to a cloud-based subscription at that time rather than have that big outlay of cash. And that is one area where I do plan on moving things towards the cloud when that renewal comes up. But it's tough to speak on the entire, I guess, the entire payload of everything that the town is using. What I can tell you though is as these renewals come up, it is something that we look at. What is the most cost effective direction to go in?
Yeah, I'm just worried with the on-prem servers, there's not a renewal, and so we'll just keep dumping money into the hole rather than trying to move.
I think regardless, even if we were 100% cloud-based, there's still the need for infrastructure. We still need to connect all our buildings.
I am 100% back of infrastructure. I just think this is not the cheapest and best infrastructure we could have. I 1,000% back. I just want to good quality of it. That's it for me.
Recommend, sorry to put you on the spot, but if there's any way you can get dates for all of the things, Emily is, Representative Norman is very astute in this business. I don't think any of us on this committee could even handle what all of you were saying. I don't know how many, as a full RTM membership can understand half of what you guys are talking about. From what I'm guessing is that we have reoccurring things that we need in the system that we have in comparison to the cloud-based system that Norman is discussing with you. Is there any way to know those dates so that if we were to move into this cloud system, that we could all work together to get you the things you need to secure what we have and to move to that system? Is there, I know it's short notice and we're going into the budget season and I don't know what that entails. I'm sure it's a lot of extra work, but if we could have some idea, we might be able to fund some of this or all of it and know when we're going to be out of funding it, moving into this service, the other service. Is that possible?
I think it would be reasonable to look at some of the larger ticket items. I don't know as we'd be able to present that as a whole, as an entire every service within the town.
So in other words, you couldn't get all of those dates and times in order to figure out when we could transfer it out or when we could stop using the on-site servers compared to the.
I'm sorry, so we're looking for the expiration dates or we're looking for a cost analysis?
That's kind of what we're talking about. I mean, that would give us a general idea, a better idea as to how we could move from on-site stuff to in the cloud stuff and possibly save money.
I think that's, I mean, he's talking about software, I'm talking about like these on-prem servers, we have on-prem servers with Azure backups. You wanna go on Azure system, go, but just like, it does not cost that much more if you already have it backed up on Azure to like make that accessible to the frame and do that, like you've already backed it up, you're already spending the money on the actual amount of data that your data storage, because we have the cloud backup, so that's why this kind of drives me crazy, is like, we already have it in two places, it already sits in the cloud, but we're just also spending one more big place, so I wanna stop.
I can see the confusion, but Azure has so many different services that are available for cloud services, and we are using a simple backup solution. So we don't have a large Azure presence.
Yeah, and that's fine, you can do query, you can do AWS, I don't care, I think it's cheap. And I wanna know that we did the thought.
Okay, do we have any other questions? I mean, I'm a
Sorry.
little lost in my own way, yes.
I see that it says here that we have money in here for performing an IT network security assessment audit. When is that audit scheduled for and what preparations?
That the audit has not been scheduled as yet. We're working with several different organizations within the state, so it's kind of an open-ended. But it will be done, I imagine, within the next few months.
In the next 2 months, okay. Because things are cranking up here. Excuse me. What I was getting at is that because we don't have a particularly large contingency fund, if you get hit with some kind of a ransomware attack, I would feel better if I knew more about your.
Do we not have insurance? You have security insurance, right?
Yeah, we have security insurance.
Yes.
Okay, that's helpful. Well, I didn't see the line item before, and I was.
These are capital improvements, there's not like
It
that.
came up,
Well, I
it
know-
came up last year.
Okay, oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's good, I thought that would help.
It
Not
does,
my
no,
area,
I
but I
know.
know we have it.
Representative Gardner, any questions for Director Main?
No questions.
Representative Fritchie? Representative Umris?
No questions.
Okay, we're just on A. On the first.
No, I'm with her.
They gotta keep recording now, but
Okay, so funds are loaded here. We're gonna try to move $135,000. Those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Representative Umris?
Aye.
No.
no.
Okay, so we're 6-1-0, so we'll have plenty of discussion on this. It passes for the moment through committee. And we're gonna get our scorecards out for B here now, because I'm sure we're up for another battle.
This was fast.
Okay. Representative Norman, I know you have questions, so Director
Okay.
Main will be answering.
Hi, Director Main, me again, thank you. I think my question here is, this looks to be, supply, training and everything. It was a longer term CIP. I think I've always been a little confused why this was a CIP and not your main budget. And I think I'm particularly confused this year when you also have $57,000 in your main budget for training and like growth and development. And can you talk to me a little bit about how these things are different and why you need them?
Well, I think that this particular CIP is in place to help transition from the solutions that the town has been using over to the new software. And the specific training for that transition. Whereas I think, some of the things that you may see in the regular budget is more for ongoing training and you know, training for the typical standard operating of the town. Does that make sense?
What a new, you said it's transitioning people to new software. What is the new software this year? What we're doing?
So this is transitioning some of the current solutions over to Tyler software. And I believe payroll and some of the bear with me one moment here.
One thirty. Yes, okay, yeah. Just. Anyone else? You're not at the top of my.
We're almost done, right?
I'm
Sorry, I thought it was fast.
More.
No, but you were good.
He's doing the best.
I know, it is hard.
Hey, my apologies. Yes, it's payroll, employee self-service, some of the human resources management and recruiting. That's going to be moved over from the current solution over to the for the Tyler. That's the money is for that transition.
When did that software launch, and how many people are you looking at transitioning?
I'm sorry, when is the software launch?
Yeah, and how many people are you looking at transitioning?
I don't think it's a specific number of people rather than just the service. I think the number of people is going to depend on the the number of employees on the particular department that's impacted. As far as the launch, I know that, again, I'm fairly new here, but the launch has been pushed a few times because of some attrition in different departments. So I don't believe that we have a specific date for the launch at this time.
Do you think it will truly happen this year? I'm just looking, this is a very tough budget year. And this is not something that's gonna happen. Yeah,
I think that is the plan. Can I guarantee it it's going to happen this year? I think there's a lot of things that are up in the air that are going to be beyond our control. But our intent is to move forward with those this year.
So this phase of the ERP delayed a couple of times, for various reasons. As Director May had mentioned, they're changing in staffing. Some of the key players implement payroll individual has left, and implement individual. So, in the finance department, between finance and HR and IT, we really need all the players in place to make sure that going live with that specific module is going to be the best that it can. As well as also on the Tyler side, they also had some staffing issues themselves. We were given project managers, and they moved on away from Tyler, or they were promoted because, so it was like a constant shuffling of, we've got our staff ready, but they don't have people to now start. The goal is hopefully to go live sometime in the very near future, because all of our vacancies will hopefully definitely be in, I would say, in the next couple.
did you have money in the 24 budget for this? And were you able to recoup that as savings given your contractors didn't provide as needed, or you didn't have folks in that can get, that it can go back in the, yeah.
I honestly don't know. I know that, Brian Hancock had managed a lot of, that portion of this with all the various CIPs for planning it out multiple years and stages. So I don't have that exact information. I do know we paid, a bulk or more upfront ahead of time, but because of the delays in, of the processing or needing to now kind of go back over to redo what we've done, but refresh what we've done, there is probably going to be the need to purchase additional hours from.
Have any more questions?
What do you use? What do you use for your data backup?
For data backup, we're currently using, we use tapes that are where the information is backed up at the town hall. And then those tapes are stored off-site. And then we also do have the Azure cloud backup as well. So that we're doing a backup that resides. You know, it's an immutable backup in the cloud.
You have most of your backup on tape, or where is your?
It resides in both places as a best practice.
Have any other questions for Director Main for $1,000? Yeah. Okay, I'd like to move $50,000. Do I have a second? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Passes committee, we'll have 20 to say on the floor. Okay, we're on to the last item here. Page 246. CIP. Security date. Pretty much self-explanatory. I'm gonna Representative Norman to ask Director Main any questions you might have on this. Go around the room.
I think my only question was, I actually didn't have money on this. I just was surprised that these are recommendations by DHS of the state of Connecticut and MIT, but they did not provide you grant funding. That was my big one.
That
We
is
don't
that's a good question. Now, while we haven't gotten any grant funding as yet, we have been able to participate in a lot of these programs at no cost to the town, which has been a great benefit. And I will also say with the state of Connecticut, they are doing external port scanning for us on a regular basis, free of charge, to ensure that we're protected from the outside. I will definitely be looking into different grant and funding options as well.
Actually do have one, I'm so sorry. In the 73, does this include the ability to issue hard tokens for particular members of the town staff? You know what I'm talking about?
I'm sorry, is this for the two-factor authentication, the tokens that you're asking about?
Yeah.
We do have those in place, and that's part of the regular budget.
Thank you so much.
Seem like a very busy director. Sure, it's not easy stepping in. I appreciate all of your hard work, Director.
Thank you, I
Like I said,
appreciate that.
Oh, it's not easy coming in your first year with us. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions. Please don't take it personal, okay? It's not a personal thing. Certain ones of us have more insight into this than I'll ever have, okay? So, I guess I'm gonna make a motion to move, 73,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Number. Thank you, sir. Well, that passes 7-0. We thank everyone for coming this evening. We'll be meeting again. I don't know whether Director Main will see you again on our next Thursday meeting or not. But thank you once again for servicing all these contracts and figuring all this stuff out for us. We wish you the best of luck when you come sit with the whole body. You've had fun with the town council, so. I thank you for your
Thank
time
you.
this evening. Have a great evening, okay?
You as well.
Representative, thank you so much for your time this evening. We will see you on Thursday, okay? And like take a motion to adjourn at 8:22.
Sure.
Okay. Second. You know what? So much. Great evening.